Pan walked through the village. As dawn broke grey over mass graves, the plague had been here for weeks, and the smell of death hung so thick it had texture, weight, presence. He breathed it in like perfume, savouring not the disease itself. That was merely biology, merely mechanism. But what it had done to the people who remained. They had started dancing 3 days ago. Not celebration, not madness exactly, though that's what the survivors would later call it. The Danse Macabre had emerged organically, inevitably, as communities discovered that fear was more contagious than any bacterium. Pan stopped to watch a line of dancers stumble through the village square. They'd been at it for hours, perhaps days. Time lost meaning when death made hourly visits. Men and women, young and old, linked at the elbows and spinning in ragged circles, feet bleeding through worn shoes, voices raised in songs that sounded like prayers filtered through delirium. Behind them, the flagellants came with their whips, backs raw and weeping. They screamed about sin and divine punishment, about the need for blood to satisfy an angry God. Pan grinned. They thought they were serving the Christian deity, but every crack of the whip fed something far older. "Why are you dancing?" he asked a woman as she spun past. "If I stop moving, I'll remember. If I remember, I'll understand. If I understand that my children are dead, that my husband is dead, that everyone I love is dead, the screaming..." She spun again, faster. Better to dance. The Jews burned that afternoon, accused of poisoning wells. Pan watched from a rooftop as the mob, their faces twisted into masks of righteous certainty, built the pyre. Fear needed target, needed explanation, needed someone to blame because random suffering was intolerable. The screams as flesh caught fire were exquisite, not for the pain but for what surrounded it. The crowd's desperate need to believe they'd solved something, fixed something, made themselves safe through violence. The plague would take most of them anyway. But Pan cared about what happened in the spaces between death, how communities cannibalized themselves, how certainty crumbled into ritual, how people created their own pandemonium while the disease simply existed, uncaring, doing what diseases do. He'd learned something vital. He didn't need to be the source of catastrophe. He only needed to be there when it arrived, whispering the shapes fear should take, conducting the Danse Macabre like the grandest symphony ever composed. By nightfall, the dancers had collapsed. The flagellants slept in their blood. The mob dispersed to homes that would soon hold new corpses. And Pan walked on to the next village, following the rats, patient as plague itself.